Hey guys, and welcome back to Black Desert Online. This episode, I guess, is what you may call a pre-ep or a prequel or some sort of introductory episode to the actual second playthrough or playlist of my Black Desert Let's Play. If you've been following along, you'll know that I've finished up a video. Technically, I could still use her moving forward, but I want a fresh character, a different class, somebody with a little more AoE. I mean, I'll always love my Lan, but I just want something different to do the Kama Sylvia plotline and then the Dragan plotline. No, I still have no freaking idea how to pronounce that Dragonland, so I'm just going to keep calling it that until I hear a character say otherwise. I had initially planned to show you everything that happened. I mean, cutting, like, don't get me wrong, I was going to cram it all into one episode and cut it through. Everything that happens from levels 0 through to 58, because if you recall, I have to be level 58 to start the Kama Sylvia main plotline. So I was just going to do all that in one episode and then start the plot. However, as predicted, doing the main plotline, like not even reading anything, just spamming getting through the conversations, getting the quests done, and then grinding once I'd completed the quest line, it was driving me absolute batshit crazy because it was so freaking boring. Like, I don't think you guys understand how much of a waste of time I feel that grinding is. I'm used to single player games that don't really need that, and it's just, I've got better shit to do than like just stab creatures again and again and again just to level up. So the last two levels 56 to 58, were so goddamn hard and traumatic. I struggled to stay sane leveling and grinding those last two levels. Just, it was a chore. I almost threw in the towel. If I'd had to get to level 60, I definitely would have just stopped partway through. It was torture. But as a result, as I had said, I would struggle to remain focused on the task at hand because I have a tendency to zone out when I do grinding. So it's why through a lot of my previous episodes, when I'm just doing killing missions and stuff, I stopped talking for half of it and then I realized, oh shit, I'm silent, I need to say something. It was pretty much this, but like much worse. I eventually got to the point where I just stopped talking altogether. So in the end, you're not going to see those episodes or those levels and the main plot line that I'm skimming through. You're not going to see that. I'll just sum it up for you because things are a little different since Villarreal went through all those towns back in the day. But first and foremost, I will just show you character creation because I do have some voiceover that I recorded while I was doing that. So we'll start there. I've decided that I'm going to choose a whole new class because I want something that has greater AoE and is far more ranged. I enjoy my Lan. I love Lan as character, and even if though I'm picking a new one, I think Lan will forever be my favorite just because of how beautiful she is, the way she moves. Plus with her Nimbus stride and bloody stride, and just she's very mobile and agile and graceful, and I love it. I'm going to miss the style immensely, but I really would like something that's more ranged and more AoE. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to start a new character. So yes, please. I have thought about which class I want to try. I was tempted a little bit by Mystic because she does still have AoE, she's more ranged than the Lan, but at the end of the day, I don't know that that playstyle is exactly what I was after. Like, it feels more like martial arty, which wasn't really what I wanted. So we're actually, oh good god, check out the scroll on this thing. I'm going to go with Witch. I may regret this decision because look at that. She excels at pretty much nothing. But that's okay. That's absolutely okay. I can handle that. So I'm not quite sure what I want my character to look like. I haven't given that much thought to her appearance in all honesty, which is funny because appearance is one of the biggest things for a character for me. So I know that I don't want her to look like Villarreal. So Villarreal had very Eastern features because apparently the Lans are from somewhere to the east, and which gave them a default sort of Korean, Japanesey sort of feel in their appearance. I don't even know where this mystical country is. I don't know where the Lans are from, or the Kunoichi, or the Meiwa, or any of the Asian-looking characters, because I've never seen any Asian NPCs in this world. I don't know where this mystical Eastern land is from, or whether they're ever going to add it to the game. But it felt true to the class to leave her with Eastern features. So that's what I use as my base, but then I changed her to be more fantastical by giving her the blondish orange hair, I gave her green eyes, etc, etc. And you know, she changed a little bit over time, but I never changed her core features. So she looked very Eastern. So this time I definitely want a more Western looking character, but Besides that, I don't know what I want her to look like. I don't even know what hair color I want her to have. So I think this is going to be as much of a surprise for you as it is for me. To look. I think I'm done creating my witch. I'm really not sure. I had problems from the get-go. My computer has just CTD'd a handful of times, so Black Desert is having issues since its last patch. I had issues yesterday with the central market. It was like screwing up the entire time. You saw it during my recording, but it did a lot more than I didn't show. And when I tried to get this character, I went to the beauty album, and then when I tried to click on top ranking, it came up with an error message saying it can't load, try again later. And I'm like, dude, I'm creating my character now. I don't have time to try again later. So I tried just going to the gallery itself and then doing that manually, and then we CTD'd. So then I had to get back into it all. Luckily I hadn't done anything, but I just had to go through the gallery. So instead of like sifting through all the prettier ones that everyone else has acknowledged as pretty because they're the most downloaded ones, I had to go through the crap ones that have been like most recently uploaded or whatever to find a nice one. Now this creator, Bolus, I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name, she, again, I just assumed her gender. I'm going to assume you're a she because I don't know that many males would make such beautiful female characters. There we go, we'll just say they. They've created lots of different characters and lots of different characters within the same classes. And there were quite a few character faces I thought would look nice for my witch. This is the one I've decided to go with. I don't know why. It could just be the big eyes. I like big eyes on characters. I think it makes them look cuter. Can we just, thank you. So her default hair was actually the same one that Vidil had, this one here. But I just ignore the color for the moment because I changed that. But I didn't, it looks adorable on her, but I just didn't want to have the same hairstyle that Vidil had for a lot of her playthrough. So I've gone for this look, which looks fine from the front, just not so fun from the back. I don't know if the lack of hair is going to irritate me, but in saying that, a lot of the witch costumes, I believe, could be wrong, but I believe they've all got hoods, so maybe it is for the best that I don't actually have something there. The problem is that when she's going to, I've changed her outfit by the way, a lot of her outfits also have raised collars, that's the word I'm looking for, so her hair is going to clip into the collars, but there's nothing I can do about that, so it's just going to survive as is. I wasn't sure about the colors of her hair. By default, she had black with like obscenely light brown ends. It was kind of the wrong shade at all altogether. So I thought I'd keep her black, but then I'm like, I don't know that I want a black haired character. I don't know. So it's technically black on top, but because I'm blending it into this brownish sort of tone, it makes it look like it's just a really dark brown. So that's, I'll just roll with that. So yeah, it tones it in nicely. And then the ends, I had initially got a lighter color of this one, and it looked more like a light brownish, dark blonde sort of color, but then I thought, we can put color in there, surely we can do that. So she's got a bit of lavender on the end of her hair. I don't know how you feel about that, guys. I don't even know how I feel about it, but for now, I'm just gonna leave it as is. I did alter her eyes. Oh, it's having issues with it scrolling in as well. Her pupils were actually looking up a little, like, so when you viewed, she wasn't really looking correctly, and they just seemed a little high on the eyes. So I have lowered the pupils. Not the pupils, the whole color altogether. I've lowered it a little bit, and this ridge was really high. I've just dropped that a tiny bit. I've changed the shade of her eyeshadow to make it was black by default, but I wanted it a little more soft and natural. I changed her lip. It's hard to see, but she now has a microscopic dip there. She didn't really have that before, which I thought was a bit odd, and I could try to make it more pronounced, but I thought no, the more I tamper with it, the worse it's gonna look. And then I changed her lip color. I could have gone with something generic, with a nice generic natural pink, a nice generic red or orangey shade, but I wanted to go quite cool toned with her, which, you know, her eye tone is not cool at all. I cannot get an eyeshadow that doesn't look unnatural in brown that looks cool. All the browns just look odd, so this is the closest I could get. They don't wholly match, and I think in the world you probably notice the difference in tones a little more drastically, but there's not much I can do about that. So it's actually blue, but the opacity's turned right down, so it looks kind of like a purplish tinge to it, which coincidentally matches her hair. I did do the face first before I did the hair, so that probably the reason why I chose the lavender to match that. So I just thought she was adorable. She's pretty much not really changed from her default character, so I'm pretty much stealing someone else's character creation, but you know, if they didn't want that done, they wouldn't have put it on the gallery, so it's there to be taken. So that is going to be my witch. Yeah, I think she's adorable. She's not as adorable when she smiles and makes faces when she's animated, but luckily I don't see her face all that often, so you know, I just see it at the beginning and the end of episodes, so we'll just deal with that. Now we come to the hard part, the character name. I actually have a post-it note here with like a trillion names in it, just each with different spellings and just different names entirely. I don't know which one's going to work, and I don't even know if I like any of these. I don't know if I like one more than the other. I'm really not sure at all. So you don't need to see my list. I'm just going to go through my list until I find one that will work and one that I'm kind of content with. So I'll see what she ends up with. So, oh, good God, what's happening there? So my second choice in names has worked, or second choice of spelling. I wanted Kamara as my first choice, but I didn't want an H there. I'm so sick of having to put H's in all my names just to get them to work. Like, I didn't want that H, I didn't want that H, didn't want that H, didn't even want the second A for that matter. But it's what I've had to compromise with to get the spelling, to get the name that I wanted. So it's not as cute, but you know, there we go. Kamara. Level 1 witch. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. It's not very glamorous, let's just say, but on the positive side of things, it ties into the color of her lips and her hair, so that's positive. We're going very archaic with this stick here, but here we go. We'll start with our level 1 witch, and we should be witnessing the new cutscene. So on to the questing. As you may or may not remember, you may not have seen Vitriol's playthrough, but if you have, you recall that when I started Black Desert at that point in time, your character began in Olvia, in the little town of Olvia. I thought it was a really nice place to start. You know, immediately get put into a lovely town, you get to meet people, learn all these NPCs and how that kind of conversational front works. I thought it was a very nice organic introduction to the game. However, when I started my archer, just when he became a thing, because he was created midway through my playthrough, so I just made an archer just to see, one, what the archer's fighting style was like, but also to see what the storyline had changed to, because it was said that you would change locations, and that was true. My archer, Drakan, he started at the Western Guard camp, which I felt was kind of unnecessary. It just felt like you just skipped a whole chunk of the map, because I have no idea when the game would even take you back to Olvia, because there's no other reason to go to Olvia, quite frankly. So it worked as a starting town. So I wasn't a fan of starting at the Western Guard camp, but I guess it kind of made the action feel more immediate. Maybe, I guess. So this time I know that the plotline has changed again, so I was intrigued to find out what that meant for my new witch. Turns out, you start right next to the ancient stone chamber, so it's completely cut out Olvia. It's delayed the Western Guard camp, so you do technically still do that at the beginning, but we start nearer the ancient stone chamber. And I don't know how I feel about that. Maybe it's just because I've played the beginning 2 other different ways. This just felt like the worst of the lot. I don't know how to explain it. I mean, again, the action is even more immediate. It throws you into the plot immediately, but I don't know. Maybe it's just because I first did it a different way. It doesn't feel right. But anyway, with the new beginning, it's similar to the Archer in that there's new conversation dialogue between Aiden and Jarrett, Princess Jarrett. Is it Jarrett? I think it's Jarrett because it's a single R double T. Anywho, so you have that little conversation, which you did get when you played through the Western Guard camp, so that was nice. Yeah, and everything from there played on pretty much the same way that it had for Vidail, just differences in that you had to kill grey wolves and you had to kill like the Triumphs or something like that, rather than the weasels and stuff that you had originally back over at Olvia and the Western Guard camp. But the normal imps, you already had to kill them, so it kind of continued in a similar vein. But by the time you got to, I think it was Heidel? I think it's where it happened. You have your first crossroads. Now, crossroads were a thing for Vidail, but I only ever came across one to do with like Alrundi and whatnot. But this is different. This crossroads actually dictates your entire main plot line. I don't think I fully understood the scope to which it affected the main plot line until I played through it. So first and foremost, you are presented with 3 options. Your first option is to go with I really should pull this up on my screen so I can see what it was, but your first option was to do with Jordienne and Belmorn, the traditional main plotline that Black Desert had, or at least the traditional plotline that I experienced with Viriel as I went through it. I liked that story. Yeah, sure, it had issues and pretty lackluster ending, but the concept and the core structure of it is very engaging, and I very much liked playing through that main plotline. So I thought, hey, done it before, probably not going to choose that one. I honestly cannot remember what the second option was. It was so insignificant to me, clearly. So whatever that was, I'm sure I'll have it on the screen for my recording. The third option, however, intrigued me a little because it was about Isabel. Isabel and Carotia. And Crosha? I can't remember how to pronounce her last name. Isabel. You may recall, through my first playthrough, I wasn't an Isabel fan. I thought she was a bit snobbish, kind of a bit of a bitch. But I thought, you know what? Let's just give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe we caught her on an off day or an off week or an off month. So I decided to try Crossroads number 3 and try that. What I didn't realise at the time, as I had said, is that the entire main plotline is dictated by this choice. In other words, by choosing Isabel's plotline, I never met Jordienne. To this day, I actually have not even gone back to Heidel and spoken to the man. I haven't even spoken to the leader of Heidel because the game never put me in that direction. I've never had any interaction regarding Belmorn, any of these great, massive plot points that just formed the base of Black Desert for me. Nothing. I got none of it. And to be honest, I feel kind of gypped. I skipped through pretty much all the dialogue with everybody in the main plot line just to get it done and just speed through it so I could hurry up and get to level 58. So I can't say that I really experienced the entire plot in its fullness, and I didn't fully understand it. I have to say I do appreciate Isabel more as a character. Yeah, she's still snobby and up herself and conceited, but she's also useful. She serves her purpose. She has a purpose. And I did change my perspective of her to a little more positive and more supportive of her, especially because other people were dismissive of her, other NPCs, and I wasn't a fan of that and the way they viewed her. So it does change your perspective of that, and also in regards to her father. It also took me to a room inside the Parliament I'd never been to before. I didn't even realise there was more than one room in Parliament, so thank you for at least opening my world in that regard. So Isabel doesn't just stay in Heidel or in Calpheon. She's actually through other locations in the world, like, where does she go? Like the Northern Wheat Plantation. I can't even remember where she was, but she kind of followed you loosely throughout the plotline as you went through the world. And so that gave it extra engagement with the main plotline and it made it ongoing. But at the end of the day, I feel so deprived to not have this far more epic battle and struggle with like the good and darkness and this leader that wanted to take over everything. I didn't get that. And that just feels like I got a subpar plot in exchange just because I was presented with a choice that I didn't really know anything about. I mean, yeah, I was actively not choosing the Jordienne plotline, but I still expected to encounter it at some point, maybe just was further down the line, but nope. So if you guys ever played Black Desert, pick the first crossroads. I guarantee you're going to have a much more fulfilling experience as a result. Just, yeah. So all in all, I think it took me roughly 12 hours to smash through the main plot line. I kind of stayed back a little bit and leveled a little bit with enemies along the way just because I was there. I didn't do it for long, just like if I was leaving a location, I'd attack everything along my way out just to get the extra XP and to level up that much quicker. This experience was made more expedient by taking all of Virail's equipment, stashing it in Velia, and then when Kimahra made it to Velia, I put all the equipment onto her. So she was hella OP for level. So she was just smashing through her enemies really quickly, which really helped get through the questline and level up at the speed at which she has. If I just left her with boring core gear, I would have been there for days trying to get to level 58. It would not have been pretty at all. But by giving her such strong equipment from the get-go, not her weapons, mind you, her weapons I didn't increase until she hit like level 49. I left them with plotline strength weapons. It was more the defense and the accessories, which also boosted her DP and AP. So that helped. I spent pretty much every battle, every fight through up to level 49 just using Lightning Chain. I kid you not. It was the only attack I used. I mean, for flair and for fun, I might have used a fireball or a blizzard or, you know, that kind of thing just for fun. But I could just kill multiple enemies with this lightning chain and it was fantastic. I loved it. It was really expedient, let's just say that. So that was my experience right up until about 49. And then things got harder. The enemies got stronger and I struggled to kill them. I had to stop using those abilities, the lightning chain, and actually move back to the fireball, the blizzard, and all those kind of core AoE abilities to sort of bulk it out. And then, as I said, I had to get stronger weapons because it just wasn't doing the job fast enough for me. I mean, I could do it. It was just taking a long time and I just did not want to spend the time doing it. So I bought new shit, yay. And yeah, so eventually, several more hours later, we finally got to level 58 and it was a freaking struggle, let me just tell you. It says I've done like a day and a half, if not more, almost 2 days worth of playing time on Kimahra, but I definitely have not spent that much time on her. Some of that was AFK dummy training, which I did trying to get from 57 to 58, but it like gave me 14%. It was such a waste of time overnight. Oh, what a waste of power and in-game money. I'm not happy about that. So the number is a lot higher than what I actually did, and I also had her just sitting there doing nothing while I was making costume for her. That's a big thing for me, as you know. I actually am happy to pay money to have my character looking the way I want them to look. Yeah, I'm that kind of weird person. Just deal with it. Just accept it. So I wanted to get a costume for her. Appearance-wise, I wanted her to look a certain way. But none of the costumes on the Pearl shop, I guess, embodied what I wanted from her. None of them really screamed witch. They were kind of more sexy than I wanted. I mean, that was fine for Virail, but it's not really where I was going with Kimahra. There were a few witch cloaky dress based outfits, but I wasn't feeling any of them. I didn't look at any of them go, yes, I can see her in that costume. So I didn't end up buying any from the Pearl shop, which sucks because I thought that would be my solution. I did, however, buy the Ardsphera costume and staff costume. Oh, I don't remember the name of the costume I took it from. Oof, terrible memory. Anyway, I can show you a picture of them. They are so freaking gorgeous. I absolutely am in love with both these weapons. My staff is beautiful and my little spears are gorgeous. They just like have rainbow glows within them and I love them so much. That is for the costume. So I was left with other options. I thought about buying all the different armors, just cheap for the marketplace, and seeing which one I like the look of. I managed to obtain a Grunil armor through battling some enemies. So I tried it on. I didn't mind the appearance, it just felt still very loose around the waistline like a lot of the witch outfits are. So it was kind of like a plan C. It was definitely not my first or my second choice, but it was an idea. So then I thought, well, why don't I Google it, find out what these different costumes look like. While I was doing that, I thought about the different life skilling costumes because I had put some onto video to start off with. I don't know that I ever played with many of them. I think I only ended up wearing one costume or something, but I always had the option of the other ones. So I thought about how they would look on it, and I thought, yeah, not too bad. I could probably turn one of those into a costume. Yes, paying real money. And just watch her doing that. So I'm like, okay, well that's plan B. What is my plan A? So, I stumbled across something that I knew existed but hadn't really thought too much about, and that's Princess Durette's armor. I love the look of her armor. I've always liked it. I think it's really, really cool. So I thought, you know what? It's time I actually create something in this goddamn game, other than my ship that I ended up giving away to Nyabi. So that's what I did. I spent an entire afternoon researching what it was required for Princess Durette's armor, and then I spent the afternoon constructing it. So I took some rough notes. Yes, this is my handwriting. It's not the neatest in the world. It wasn't meant to be read by other people. I was just scrolling it down with my notes. So technically there were only 5 different ingredients that you need for the armor, but some of those were broken up into further slots, further requirements that you had to make. So you had to make the sub-ingredients first before you could make the overall outfit. So first and foremost, you needed the design for Durette's armor contract. To do that, you had to gain 500 amity with Ornella. She's over here in Heidel, over by Claire, the marketplace directed chick, up on the fountain. So I could have played the amity game with her, but as we all know, I don't like it, I don't understand it, it sucks, so I had to freaking wave at her. Oh, so many times. We'd have 500 divided by 3 is that many times I had to wave at her. It was so unpleasant, and I couldn't even just use Kimara. I had to use Muriel to get enough energy to wave at her. But eventually I got my 500 amity, so yay, done. Ingredient number 2, I need a pattern engraved golden armor piece. So this is something I had to physically make. So to make this item, I needed a permit, golden armor with patterns. Now you actually had to steal this permit from Caroline. I think her name's Caroline. She's actually in the hall with Jordian and the leader of Heidel, whatever his name is. She's just the chick who's chilling in the back. So you just steal it from her because we are totally awesome people and that's just how we roll. So I stole it from her. I think it was actually the first thing I got from her. So that was awesome. You needed 10 gold ingots, 10 steel, 10 silk, and 10 blackstone powder. Now, I initially thought about getting all these ingredients in their lowest state and then manually getting them to their final state to then use them as ingredients because I thought it would be cheaper. It would be more time consuming, but cheaper. And it did look like it wasn't going to cost as much. But when I tried to heat gold ore to make gold ingots, it turns out that apparently you need some sort of level in heating or processing or whatever the bloody hell I was doing. Either way, that shit wasn't working. So I had to sell the gold ore back to the marketplace and buy just gold ingots. After that failed experiment, I pretty much just assumed I wouldn't be able to do anything else because Kimara had no life skills to speak of. Probably could have done it as Viriel. Oh well, it's done now. So from then on, I just decided to buy everything. I just wasn't going to worry about testing things, just going to buy it and get it done with. So the gold ingots cost 635,000 silver, the 10 steel, 69,500, 10 silk. I already had 5 from a quest in Valencia, so I only had to buy 5 more. That was 77,000. And I had to buy 10 blackstone powder at 33,100. All in all, the pattern engraved golden armor cost me 814,600 silver. So this isn't the cheapest way to go about life, let's just face it. Anyway, once you put all that into your storage, you just have to get the level 1 costume mill in Heidel and then let your worker churn that out. So it took my goblin? I think it was a goblin. My goblin dude 45 minutes to spam that out while I just AFK'd doing nothing. The next ingredient was one of the finest casual clothes for women. So again, I needed a permit, which I stole from Caroline. Luckily, it was like the 3rd thing I stole from her, so I didn't have to waste too much energy or time doing that. I needed 5 supreme tough hide, which again, I just cut to the chase and bought that shit for 1,765,000 silver. Yes, that is a bloody lot. I needed 3 supreme thin hide, which was 1,350,000 silver. Oh my god. And again, 10 blackstone powders for 33,100. All in all, the finest casual clothes for women cost me 3,148,100 silver. Ew, it's disgusting. Again, you had to churn that out at the costume mill with one of your workers, and it took my goblin worker another 45 minutes to complete that. Then I just needed 2 brilliant opals. Again, I thought about heating rough opals, but because I had the rough opals from Altanova, because my workers are getting it, but after the disaster of the gold ore, I just bought shit. So that cost 62,800 silver, and the remaining blackstone powder, cost 82,750 silver. For this one, you actually needed level 2 costume mill. So once I upgraded my costume mill, I threw all of these items, the 2 completed clothing plus the 2 extra items, into my storage with my design for the Jarrett's armor contract, and my little goblin worker got started on that. That took an hour and 10 minutes to complete. So all in all, this entire costume took 2 hours and 40 minutes, just in case you're wondering. They were roughly level 19. My worker, he was roughly level 19, and he was a goblin, if that helps. And overall, it cost me, wait for it, 4,107,650 silver. So this is by no means a cheap solution to my problem, but at least it wasn't real money I was spending at this point. I mean, I still had to buy the costume coupon to change it into a costume, which cost me like 17 real dollars, which is kind of fucking pricey if you ask me. But anywho, so that had me complete Jarrett's armor. I threw it on Kimahra, went to dye it because I had always imagined Kimahra to be in shades of purple and green and kind of a brownish, I guess, to kind of have earthy tones to her. But don't ever try to dye Jarrett's armor, guys, just a heads up. She has this chest piece and shoulder pieces, which it's an armor, and then she also has this neck scarf. Now, for whatever God knows reason, some psychotic freak has put both the fabric neck scarf and the metal chest plate on the exact same dyeable slot. So whatever color and material you make the scarf, you also make the chest plate. So I can either have a metal chest plate with a metal neck piece, or I can have a fabric neck piece with a fabric chest piece, or I could try to do leather with both. It was hideous. It was hard to get a color and a material that balanced. It really didn't work. There were only 3 dye slots overall, so those 2 were 1, and the rest were just even worse. There was nothing I could do to make that shit pretty. I mean, I could make it silver, metal, but it just wasn't a good look. So I've ended up having to go with default Jarrett armor. I'm not the happiest about it because it's not why I made the armor. I'd made it fully intending to dye it these colors that were more reflective of Kimahra rather than the yellow, the red, and the bronzy sort of shades. But that's what it is. All in all, I still do love Jarrett's armor. I like the way it looks and the way it shines when you move, and it doesn't look too bad on Kimahra all in all, so I just left it. It wasn't the outcome, but it's the outcome I wanted, but it's the outcome I got. So I've just had to deal with it. So that's that. Pretty sure that's everything. I just want to mention my companion. Oh, I completely forgot that witches and wizards get creature summons. I don't really know what else to call them. Guardian summons. So the wizard is based in fire and water magic, so he gets 2 guardians of those elements. The witch is based in lightning and earth magic, so I get 2 guardians of those nature. The lightning dude is called Tet, and the earth dude is called Gore. I love Gore. He is freaking amazing. Some of my funniest moments. I was chilling in Serendia's shrine. I think I was waiting for Kazaka because I wanted to give it a shot with Kimahra rather than using Viriel to fight him. And I was just chilling there for no reason whatsoever, just waiting for time to pass. And one of the shrine cult dudes just decided to attack me or Gore, and Gore just like hog smashes him once, and then just stops. He just pummel, and then back to nothing. It was just, I don't even know how to explain it. It was just the funniest thing I've seen ever. But I like him. Whenever I'm attacked, he protects me. Whenever he's attacked, he protects himself. I really like him as a companion. He's so adorable. How can you not like that face? So I always have him as my companion. Tet, I never given him a chance because I just love Gore so much. Some of your attacks utilize Gore and Tet. So I've unlocked a flow ability that uses Gore. He comes smashing out of the ground and thumps into the enemies you're trying to kill. It's really effective and really strong for an AoE effect. I really like it. It's really useful. So I haven't utilized Tet at all. I'm at level 58 now, so I can unlock the flow Tet ability, but I don't have enough skill points for it. So we can't even test it to see if I like it. But that's okay. I love Gore. Gore is the best. So yeah, please meet Gore. He's going to be our companion for the entire remainder of the game, because he's so freaking adorable. But anywho, I'm pretty sure that ties up to where we are. Kimara is now level 58, which means that she can obtain this new quest from the Black Spirit, and she can be on her way down to Kama Sylvia. So thanks so much for watching this ep, guys. I hope you enjoy the series to come.